Trades happen all the time in the NBA. Sometimes they reshape the league, sometimes they shift the balance of power, and sometimes they just reshape Dennis Schroeder's jersey collection. But it's no secret that GMs have gotten smarter in recent years. Trades are usually calculated, front offices are cautious, and assets are protected like family heirlooms. After Kevin Durant left OKC, Sam Presti saved the franchise by acquiring picks and young talent. And now, the Thunder are sitting on a treasure chest of young talent and future firsts. That blueprint has become the norm. If you're trading a star today, you better be getting multiple first-round picks, young players with upside, and at least one lightly protected swap in 2029. Because if you don't, Twitter is going to let you know immediately. But it wasn't always like this. Back in the day, you could call up a team and say, "Hey, we're interested in your franchise player," and instead of hanging up, they'd respond with, "Sure, want to pick with that?" There was no asset protection, no long-term strategy, just doing it for the love of the game. And today we're going to revisit some of the absolute worst trades in NBA history. Beginning with Ray Allen to the Supersonics. In 2003, Ray Allen was in his prime, averaging over 20 points per game and shooting nearly 40% from 3 on 7 attempts a night, which for the early 2000s were basically video game numbers. But at the trade deadline, the Bucks sent Allen to the Sonics in exchange for Desmond Mason and a geriatric Gary Payton, who would only end up playing 28 games in Milwaukee before leaving in free agency. Oh, and on top of that, the Bucks also gave the Sonics a first-round pick. Ray Allen, meanwhile, would end up being an all-star in each of the 4 seasons he spent in Seattle, including averaging over 25 points per game for 2 of those seasons. So really, in essence, the Bucks traded their all-star shooting guard, the face of their franchise, the best three-point shooter in the league, and a first-round pick for Desmond Mason. And no disrespect to Desmond Mason, who is an incredible dunker, but this is like trading a Ferrari and throwing in a gas card for a slightly used Honda Civic. Damn. How about the Golden State Warriors, who could honestly be in this video quite a few times? Before Steph Curry, they were a bad NBA franchise, like Jackson Hayes in the dunk contest levels of bad.
No, between the legs, he just goes. You see what happened? What happened? He got caught.
Okay, so let's rewind to 1996. Golden State decides to trade their all-star point guard, Tim Hardaway, to the Miami Heat. Yes, that Tim Hardaway, the killer crossover, UTEP two-step, multiple-time all-star. They shipped him to Miami in exchange for Kevin Willis and Bimbo Coles. Bimbo. And I gotta mention that this dude Bimbo looks like a 90s sitcom character, right? I kept looking at his picture and I was like, this dude could drop some one-liners. But back to basketball. To be fair, Hardaway was having a bit of a down year in Golden State. He was even coming off the bench for most of the season. However, even in that down year, he was still outperforming the Warriors starting point guard, BJ Armstrong. Hardaway was averaging more points and more assists than Armstrong while playing nearly identical minutes. And let's not forget that just one season prior, Hardaway put up 20 points and 9 assists per game. Meanwhile, Kevin Willis and Bimbo Coles, both rotational players at best, solid pros, but not franchise cornerstones or anything. And just like in the Ray Allen trade, Kevin Willis played only 28 games for Golden State before leaving in free agency. 28 games again. There seems to be a theme here. So what did Golden State really accomplish? They traded away a recent 20-9 all-star point guard for 2 short-term role players. And what happened next? Tim Hardaway goes to Miami and immediately returns to form. All-star again, all-NBA level player again. He was a key piece of those tough Pat Riley era Heat teams. So once again, the Warriors moved off of a proven star and got absolutely nothing long-term in return.
Oh, yes! Yes! Yes!
And guess what? We're headed back to the Warriors. Say what you want about Golden State in the pre-Steph era, but they were nothing if not generous. If you needed help building a contender, call the Warriors. This time they helped construct one of the greatest dynasties of the 1980s, the Boston Celtics. So let's go back to 1980. The Warriors traded Robert Parrish and the 3rd overall pick in the 1980 NBA draft to Boston. In return, they received the 1st and 13th picks in the same draft. They said fuck 1981, go to hell 1982, forget tomorrow, we're living in 1980. Anyways, the Warriors selected Joe Barry Carroll with the 1st pick in the 1980 draft. Carroll went on to have some solid seasons and ended up making one All-Star game, all while also earning some elite slander nicknames, such as Joe Barely Carroll and Joe Barely Cares. The Warriors also selected Ricky Brown with the 13th pick, who was out of the league in just a few seasons. So that's the Warriors side of the trade. Now let's check in on Boston. Boston got Robert Parrish, who was already an all-star caliber big man, and with the 3rd overall pick, they selected Kevin McHale, solidifying the Celtics' big three of Bird, McHale, and Parrish, who would anchor one of the most dominant dynasties in NBA history. To this day, people still talk about the 1986 Boston Celtics, and I can guarantee you no one is talking about the 1986 Golden State Warriors. Alright, so let's close this out with a superstar. Not just an all-star, not just an all-NBA guy, a franchise all-to enforce. Charles Barkley.
Listen, I'm telling you the truth. I think it's a great city. I think they got the best organization in the NBA, but they do have some big old women down there. I mean, come on now.
By 1992, Barkley was already a 6-time All-Star and 7-time All-NBA member. He just came off a season averaging 23 points, 11 boards, and 4 assists a game. He was the engine of the Philadelphia 76ers. So what would arguably a top 5 player in the league be traded for? Perhaps multiple assets, future picks, young cornerstone pieces, something? No. Instead, the Sixers traded Charles Barkley to the Phoenix Suns for Jeff Hornacek, Andrew Lang, Tim Perry. That's it. No first-round picks, no future swaps, just Jeff Hornacek. The next season, Hornacek had a solid season, averaging 19 points, 4 boards, and 7 assists. And Barkley? Well, Barkley won league MVP, averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists, for leading the Suns to 62 wins and their 2nd ever finals appearance. So let's zoom out. Philadelphia traded an MVP-level superstar in his prime, with multiple elite seasons still ahead of him, for a solid guard and 2 role players. So, if you're a future NBA general manager watching this video, take notes. Sometimes the best move is doing absolutely nothing, because as we've seen, you can trade a prime Ray Allen and attach a 1st-round pick for no reason. You can trade Tim Hardaway and immediately watch him turn back into an All-NBA guard somewhere else. You can accidentally build a dynasty for another franchise, and you can trade Charles Barkley and then watch him win MVP the very next season. All because you thought you were being proactive. And you know what? Maybe it's okay to embrace the tank, because at least when you tank, there's a plan, there's a sense of direction, and there's hope. Okay, maybe tanking doesn't always work out, but you get the idea. Modern GMs might get clowned for hoarding draft picks, but after watching some of these trades, I think I'll take overly cautious over accidentally gifting a dynasty any day.
The money, but that's the root of all evil. I stay the same, but it's changing all the wrong people. Yeah, and every hater all the same. I'm feeling like the world is Skip Bayless and I'm LeBron James.